Did Puffy threaten you at one point?
You know, he said some off-the-wall shit at his house. That was a threat. And I said, you want to get in the picture? And he walked up and he just said, don't try no funny shit with me because I'm not that nigga. Like, it'll be a problem.
What if the music industry's biggest party host was hiding a dark secret? Jason Lee, once a regular at Diddy's exclusive gatherings, has stepped forward with allegations that could shake the entertainment world to its core.
Well, let me say this. Maybe there's different access. When I'm in the backyard, I don't go in the house.
Right. Wait.
No, I'm not afraid of it. I've been to the Diddy white parties. I've been to Diddy's birthday parties. I wasn't at Diddy after dark. Diddy white parties weren't the Diddy. I'm afraid to even.
We ain't talking about no white party.
You're afraid to acknowledge you've been to the Diddy parties.
No, I've been.
In a shocking turn of events, Lee claims Diddy forced himself on a 16-year-old at one of his infamous parties. As the story unfolds, we'll explore the risks Lee is taking by speaking out against one of the most powerful figures in music. Jason Lee's journey into Hollywood's inner circle began as a young, ambitious entertainment journalist. He quickly caught the eye of industry insiders with his charismatic personality and knack for building relationships. Lee's charm and networking skills soon landed him invitations to some of the most exclusive parties in town, including those hosted by music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. As Lee became a regular fixture at Diddy's lavish gatherings, he found himself immersed in a world of glitz, glamour, and excess. The parties were a who's who of A-list celebrities, with flowing champagne, designer outfits, and performances by top artists. Lee reveled in the excitement, seeing these events as stepping stones to advance his career in the entertainment industry.
I have been in the house when the parties have been happening, like not in the back rooms or like that, and I've not seen anything crazy. A threat, but it wasn't like a threat that I thought at the time like he's gonna carry out and do something. He just basically, I can't find it on my Snapchat, but I do have a video where Cassie and everybody just dancing.
However, as time went on, Lee began to notice unsettling behaviors beneath the surface of these star-studded affairs. He observed questionable interactions between older men in positions of power and young, aspiring artists. The atmosphere at times felt predatory, with vulnerable individuals being singled out and isolated. Lee found himself increasingly conflicted, torn between the career opportunities these connections offered and the moral unease growing in the pit of his stomach. The turning point came when Lee witnessed an incident involving a particularly young-looking attendee at one of Diddy's parties. The discomfort he felt in that moment was overwhelming, and he knew he could no longer ignore the red flags he'd been seeing. Lee realized that by staying silent, he was becoming complicit in a system that potentially exploited and harmed young people in the industry. Despite the potential consequences to his career and personal life, Lee made the difficult decision to speak out. He understood that challenging someone as powerful as Diddy could result in being blacklisted from the industry he'd worked so hard to break into. Legal threats, damaged relationships, and financial repercussions were all very real possibilities, but Lee couldn't shake the weight of what he'd witnessed. He felt a responsibility to those who might be victimized if he remained silent.
I'm not saying that I don't believe victims, because I've had sisters who've been a victim or survivor of domestic violence, right? I'm gonna find an attorney who's willing to work with me to do this. I'm gonna find a journalist who's gonna write the story. I'm gonna file everything I wanna say in a lawsuit, filmed my conversations with him, I put a whack, and then I put that shit out.
Wait, okay. What was it?
With a mix of fear and determination, Lee began to carefully document his experiences and gather evidence to support his claims. He sought legal advice and began to prepare himself for the storm that would inevitably follow his revelations. As Lee stepped into the spotlight with his accusations, he unveiled a dark underbelly of celebrity parties that went far beyond typical tabloid gossip. His most disturbing claim involved a 16-year-old at one of Diddy's gatherings.
The fact that the one thing where I think he lost me was, because at first I was very much saying like, yo, I have never seen it because I just haven't, and I didn't know it was happening until it happened to Tiffany Haddish. That's when I said, yo, I got on with that reporter, I got on with that lawyer. Everybody out here saying something happened to him has not had something happen to him.
Right.
What exactly happened that night? Lee's initial statements hinted at misconduct, but it was his bombshell allegation about a minor that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Lee claimed that during a party in 1998, Diddy coerced a young man into a sexual act, calling it a rite of passage to become a star. This allegation wasn't just scandalous, it had serious legal implications. If true, Diddy could face criminal charges for sexual misconduct with a minor, a revelation that threatened to topple his music empire. But the allegations didn't stop there. Lee painted a picture of Diddy's parties as carefully controlled environments with strict security measures. He claimed these weren't just star-studded events, but had a more sinister purpose. According to Lee, vulnerable young talents were often isolated and potentially exploited under the guise of networking and career opportunities. Lee's list of A-list attendees at these gatherings reads like a who's who of Hollywood, adding weight to his claims. The BBC even corroborated some of Lee's statements about the atmosphere at Diddy's parties and the caliber of celebrities present. This independent confirmation lent credibility to Lee's allegations, making them harder to dismiss as mere gossip. As Lee continued to speak out, he described a wider pattern of behavior he claimed to have witnessed. He suggested that Diddy's actions weren't isolated incidents, but part of a systemic issue within the music industry. Lee asserted that power dynamics and the promise of fame were used to manipulate and exploit young talents, with Diddy's parties serving as a backdrop for these alleged misdeeds. Public reaction to Lee's explosive revelations was mixed. Some social media users expressed concern for his safety, recognizing the risks of challenging such a powerful figure. Others questioned his motives, suggesting he might be seeking attention at the expense of serious allegations. The controversy sparked intense debates about accountability in the entertainment industry and the courage required to speak out against established power structures. The celebrity parties were shocking enough, but Lee wasn't done exposing the music industry's underbelly. He claimed there was an entire system designed to protect the powerful and silence the vulnerable. How deep did this rabbit hole of exploitation really go?
Now, I had a friend who told me years ago, like 3 years ago, we were literally having dinner in New York, and he said, man, I've seen the craziest shit in this game, bro. He goes, one time, wanted me to come over, pull up, I pulled up, and he wanted me to like play with Cassie's pussy and this, and this.
Lee's allegations against Diddy were just the tip of the iceberg. He painted a picture of an industry plagued by systemic issues where a culture of silence and complicity allowed misconduct to flourish. According to Lee, powerful figures like Diddy were protected by a network of enablers who turned a blind eye to inappropriate behavior. This web of protection made it nearly impossible for victims to speak out or seek justice. The power dynamics in the music industry played a crucial role in perpetuating this cycle of abuse. Lee described a world where aspiring artists felt powerless against the whims of industry moguls who could make or break their careers. Many young talents found themselves in situations where they felt they had no choice but to comply with inappropriate demands, fearing that speaking out would lead to retaliation and career suicide. Lee didn't stop at Diddy. He hinted at the involvement of other industry figures in similar misconduct, suggesting that the problem was widespread and deeply ingrained in the industry's culture. The use of non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, and legal threats emerged as common tactics to maintain secrecy and prevent victims from coming forward. Lee claimed that these legal tools were wielded like weapons, effectively silencing those who might otherwise speak out against abuse. The reasons why victims stayed silent for so long were complex and multifaceted. Lee explained that many felt trapped by a combination of fear, shame, and the belief that their accusations would fall on deaf ears. The industry's power structure made it seem futile to challenge such influential figures, and many victims worried about the potential backlash they might face.
But if you read the lawsuit or the articles that were posted about the lawsuit, you would have thought that Ari Spears and Tiffany Haddish were abusing children together.
Exactly. And it's probably the most disappointing thing I've seen happen in the industry because I know her heart. She's a beautiful human being. She loves everybody, and she really is. Once I saw what it was, I'm like, yeah, man, fuck that. So the first attorney and the first thing to come out was this story and that attorney.
Lee shed light on the alleged tactics used to lure and manipulate young talent. He recounted instances where attendees at industry parties were promised career opportunities in exchange for compliance with inappropriate demands. These predatory practices targeted vulnerable individuals who were eager to make it in the cutthroat world of entertainment. While Lee's words still echoed, the music industry's power players weren't sitting idle. Behind closed doors, a storm was brewing. How would Diddy and his allies respond to these explosive allegations? The answer would determine not just one man's fate, but the future of an entire industry built on image and influence. The consequences for Diddy were swift and severe. The Department of Justice charged him with racketeering and other sex offenses in a 14-page indictment. The allegations were shocking. Diddy was accused of organizing days-long sex parties involving multiple escorts and recording these events. His empire, once seemingly untouchable, now faced a barrage of legal challenges. Lawsuits piled up against Diddy, with one lawyer representing over 100 people in a single case. These suits allege that Diddy had forced himself on various individuals at his properties during what were dubbed freak-off parties. The music mogul's former girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, known as Cassie, filed her own lawsuit. She detailed how Diddy allegedly controlled her personal and professional life, forced her to consume excessive amounts of alcohol and other substances, and threatened her over the years. The fallout wasn't limited to Diddy alone. Jason Lee's revelations sent shockwaves through the industry, affecting relationships and alliances. Lee claimed that Jay-Z, one of hip-hop's most influential figures, had been trying to reach out to him regarding the allegations. This unexpected development hinted at the far-reaching implications of Lee's accusations. For Lee himself, the decision to speak out came with significant personal and professional consequences. He became a central figure in the conversation about Diddy's alleged misconduct, facing both support and criticism from the public and industry insiders. His career took a dramatic turn as he transitioned from entertainment journalist to whistleblower. As the dust settled, calls for industry reform and increased accountability grew louder. Gloria Allred, a prominent lawyer representing victims, stated that the fallout from Diddy's arrest was far from over. She suggested that courage is contagious and that more victims might come forward. The ongoing investigations into Diddy's alleged misconduct remained open, with authorities indicating that he didn't act alone and that his associates might also be implicated in the alleged crimes.